like glowing. If you're getting them, I'm getting them. Hi, hello, and welcome to The Bookish Life.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Tori. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about our Bookish Life updates.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because the first time we made our, episode 2? 1?
And we're on episode 14. I was just thinking
15?
the other day, we have been doing this for months now.
I know. This is our 15th episode.
That is crazy.
Anyway, it's been a wild ride. Things have changed. We still work, obviously, in the bookish industry, but we both have gotten extremely busy. Extremely busy.
Yeah.
More clients, more stuff, more just everything across the board. And we thought it'd be fun to sit down and talk about those updates and let you know what has changed. For the better. All good change.
Yeah, because I feel like when you work in the bookish industry, you're constantly changing what you're doing. I mean, unless you only have one client that you work full time for, you're going to be adding things. Hours are going to change based on what your clients need. So, yeah.
For sure. 100%. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to start or you want me to start?
You can go ahead and start.
Oh, you want me to? So when we first did our first episode talking about what we did, I was like, oh, I work for one client. I work for Becca and she has 3 different businesses. And I definitely still work for her. Now I'm a Hello Lovely Box influencer. That didn't come out right when I said it the first time. But it was my first time. So now I have a code, which is very exciting. Anyway, not any promotion or anything like that. But I do have another client. I finally stepped into the author services world.
I mean, because you wanted more hours, because working for ourselves, we get to set our hours and how much we work, how much we want to work. And so you wanted to work more.
Basically, I feel like no matter who you work for, you're probably going to get about part-time hours. Mm-hmm. So having just one client sometimes is not feasible if you want that full-time hour.
Yeah. I mean,
income.
There's some people who do work full-time for one author who might be a really established author who can afford to pay someone a full-time salary. I mean, Sarah for Hello Lovely, she works full-time for Hello Lovely.
Yes.
Gets full-time hours, but that's not always feasible, especially with authors who don't need someone full-time. What are you going to do for 40 hours a week for one person?
Yeah. So because Sarah does handle a lot of stuff for Hello Lovely.
She literally runs the business. So
yeah, she really does. So I help with part-time stuff for that and for Artemis and for Becca and stuff like that. So that's one thing. My hours have they fluctuate depending on what is needed, what projects we have going on, stuff like that. So I was you know what, open to adding another client, whatever that may be. So I'm very lucky to step into the author services world and I really like it. But I'm also someone who I thrive on change throughout the day, that I can change from one thing to another. Okay, not change in life changes. Okay,
I was what?
I don't want to move or anything.
You don't get bored in a day because you're always working on different things.
Yes. So if I'm supposed to be doing something, I don't know, creative, creating something and I feel stuck, I'll go and film a YouTube video or I'll do something for myself and then I'll come back to that when I can.
Yeah.
Just because that's how I work. Or if I'm not feeling I don't want to do one of the tasks I have to do in the morning, I push it off. Yeah. To the end of the day. But that's the beauty of working for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and authors a lot of times have different things they need from different people. So they might hire this one person for social media. They might hire this other person for ads. Someone might do multiple things. So I work for, I was how many people do I work for? 3 different people. And I do completely different things for all 3 of them. So.
But that's a change since our last time we talked about this.
It's your turn.
Well, yeah. But I will say stepping into the author services realm is a lot different than what I was bookish professional previously, what I was used to, only because it's it's a lot. There's so much that goes into
to have a successful business as an author. You literally work all the time, do so much. You even end up doing stuff and helping with stuff I don't even do with any of my clients, because I know you're also helping with foreign stuff and foreign outreach for those translations.
Yes.
I'm there's literally so much.
Yes. So I feel the clients that you have versus the client that I have, you have 3. You work for 3 different authors. I work for one for right now. I wouldn't consider Becca an author. She's just a bookish professional.
Yeah.
So, and the tasks are so different for what I do. There's really no crossover. But for that one author, I basically like whatever they need, they just send it to me and be like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, yep, figure it out. I got it. It's fine. So she does have a team, which is great. And we all like work together, but it's just different. And it's interesting to see how different every author is.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's crazy to say that I work for an author.
I love it though. Like
I love it.
I mean, I wouldn't say out of all the work I do, because like I could, like, YouTube's a job, Forever and Always is a job. I don't know if I would consider like Instagram, TikTok. I don't really make a lot of money off of those, but like out of all my jobs, I love the like creativity that I get to do for the author space and the authors I work for. And just like, this is what I had. So when I had an interview for one of the 3 authors, you did too. You had an interview with her. When you want to work for an author, you might have to interview with them. So Tori interviewed with her author. Like when she heard that she was looking to hire someone and like got hooked up with her, got in contact with her. I only had to interview with one author because I already had like relationships with the other 2 authors. And what I had told her was my favorite part of working for an author is just being part of their success. Like, your author you're working for had like the best release of her career so far. The ones that I do are also just like killing it with their careers. And I'm like, it is so cool being part of this business and seeing people you genuinely like love and are friends with and like are fans of succeed, and like you get to help with that. That's my favorite part of working for authors, and just being part of their creative process, I think, is really cool.
Yeah, because honestly, like, the authors will come to you and be like, hey, what do you think about this? It's like you depending on what you do for them, but you can most of the time be used as like a sounding board with them and their team to figure out like, hey, how can we make this the best release ever? Or what can we improve from the last one? Or what can we change? Or all of the stuff like that, like new ideas that they want to try. It's also, it's very cool. And I'm someone who, I've always said this, like, I love to be part of people's success. Like, I don't know, helping people. The same thing like when people come to me for like content creation, like setting up like for their YouTube channel. I get so excited. I'm like, here is what I can help with when they ask. And I'm like, this is what you can do. And like when they start and I'm like, oh, hell yes. Like, I love that part of it. Like, I don't know. It brings me this different type of joy when it's like, what is that TikTok? It's like Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. You just like hype people, and you love being the hype person. Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely agree with that. Being a part of that. Yeah. And what's really cool is like, well, you haven't been able to do it with your author, but I've been able to also beta read for a couple of the authors I work for too, which has been a really, really cool process. And you've been able to beta read for a couple of people, not necessarily who you work for, but like as part of your work for Becca too. And that's a really cool part of the industry. Like, I'd never been able to be a part of, and I love doing that, because beta reading is basically after the author writes it, they might do some edits and then they send it out a first round to people for feedback before doing more edits and before publishing. So, yeah. And like, it's not, listen, I can't spell for shit. Grammar is not my thing. It is not copy editing. No.
So beta reading works, because I always thought beta reading, you look for both. I mean, like, obviously if I notice something, I'll just skim over it because that's not what they're looking for right now. It's mostly like how it flows. Like, literally, it's like a very in-depth, like, you give your honest 100% opinion on like whether you think it's trash and what needs to be changed, or what you love and that things that they should keep. Because like when it goes through those editing processes, some things that you love, if you don't point it out, can be taken out. Yeah. But for you, that might make the book, you know what I mean? So the author would really love to see a lot of different people's opinions. Like, they do a lot more than just like 2 people.
Yeah, and then they'll see if there's like consistencies and like, was this a problem for one person or was it a problem for 5 people? Like, okay, now I really need to go back and look at what I need to fix in the book that I'm writing.
Yeah. So it's really cool just to be a part of that process of like making that author's book the best that it can be. You know what I mean? Like, and you're a piece of that, like a little puzzle piece.
And something that we stressed in Artemis when searching for authors to work for is like, you want to work for authors you genuinely love and want to support. And that's definitely what we do. That's why we love our job so much, is because we just love the people we work for and what they create. So like, it doesn't feel like work most of the time. It's like, okay, I have a lot of tasks to do, but like, it's so creatively fulfilling and just fun to do. So,
I'm someone who enjoys like a lot more admin tasks than say like you do. Like our Forever and Always, I do a lot of like the admin stuff. and you do more of like the creative, like graphic part.
Yeah. Well, like you're the one who invoices people and like we both check emails, but
well, yes.
I mean, I keep track of the money though and all the expenses.
Yeah, no.
So that is
I cannot do that. But like those type of admin tasks, I personally enjoy, and I think that's why I love being a paralegal, because it's like a lot of admin tasks.
Yeah.
So like my author services tend to lean more towards that, because like.
And mine don't.
Not yours. Yours is more like creative and, creating things for the author.
Definitely, yeah. And I really like research. So like researching trends, researching influencers, just a lot of research that I'm tasked with. I really love doing that too, because then I'm immersed in the community that I love being a part of though. So I did want to point, I know I haven't even like talked about what's changed for me, but I did want to, we'll get to that in a second. I wanted to point out though that the authors we work for really appreciate our knowledge and experience in the industry already, and they trust us with a lot, and they pull from that. They're like, okay, I know like you're on TikTok, you are an influencer, like what do you know about this? How can you help me with this? And I love that they are so excited to work with us because of our experience already, and they trust us with that.
Yeah, like I just had a meeting this week with the author that I work for, and we talked about a couple of different like tactics, like PR tactics, that usually she could just go to a PR company and they could do it that way. But she's like, why don't we do it? Because you already know how to do it. Why don't we just do it this way? And that took a lot more of like researching and stuff I've already previously done. So it's really cool that like, even if you don't think that you would be a good fit for an author, because like for like author services, I guess you could say, if you're a content creator, there's a lot of crossover that an author really takes to heart, because they have a bunch of different people on their team, and they might not be content creators. They just might be, general PA services, or they can make graphics, but they don't know the in-depth like trends and research. Like every single week I do new research and put them in a document for her to look at.
I love researching. Like the Instagram trends is so fun to me. I just get to scroll. I'm like, oh my God, this is such a cute idea. Like we can do this spin on this, like for this book, or I love doing that.
But also each author has their own niche and their own kind of like style. So like if I'm researching, I'll send something to you and be like, oh my God, you should do this for your author.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we'll find this.
I think it's because our feed in Instagram, the like For You feed, I forget what it's called on Instagram, but like I forget even how I showed it to you, but I was like, oh man, this is cute. And you're like, literally just did that yesterday. And I'm like, well.
I think we're on FaceTime or something when I was researching, and you're like, look what I found. I'm like, I just put this in this document. Like,
it was
right
a good idea though. So
it was.
Yeah.
But it's also really cool to see like how other people do releases. Like you have to research that, and you just get to see, I feel like more like I'm more
aware,
involved, aware, like immersed in it.
Yeah.
And it's very nice.
I mean, but I'm on my phone literally 24/7. I've officially like made it a rule.
Yes.
I'm on social media all the time. And so if I'm like in bed at night reading something, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to go check how this TikTok did. I was like, because then I'll get sucked into TikTok, and then I'll start scrolling and then want to check a bunch of other things. So like after 9 o'clock, I am not allowed on any social media apps. I'm like, no social media, or else you will literally be on your phone until 11. Like the next 2 hours are just gone for you. So you do have to, I mean, 9 o'clock's also a late deadline. I feel like I should make it earlier, but like you have to make sure you set those boundaries too, because it's very easy to just like work 24/7. So
yes.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a really hard time with that though.
I do. Yeah.
Like now that you took on more clients.
Yeah.
I make it easy. I'm like 6 o'clock, I'm done.
Because I have a lot of tasks, especially.
We'll go through your thing.
Okay. So I don't even remember who I was working for when we initially talked.
I think it was just one person.
Was it just one, or I had just started for my second person? So I work now officially for 3 authors, and I'm literally like the biggest fangirl of all 3 of them, and I'm still like, how is this real life? But I work for 3 authors. I used to help out with a marketing company, and that just took up too much time, and it was also a task that wasn't my favorite. So like when it was looking for, okay, what do I cut out? Because I was getting more time and hours from my clients that I had to cut something somewhere, especially if I wanted to keep up like my own social media and my own YouTube. And so I was like, I think it has to be this section that has to be cut. So I think that lasted like a month or 2, and then I was like, I just don't have time for this anymore. It was really great working for you. Thanks for the experience. Like, obviously we'll stay in touch if I ever like, and so it was amicable. Like, it was totally fine. And then I started in November for my third author, which it's really cool the different tasks I get to do for them, because I get to dabble in Facebook ads now, which has actually been fun because I get to see like what works and what doesn't work. And I got to take a couple courses about how to do ads. And one of them just did really well. And I texted Tori this morning. I was like, oh my God, my ad did so well that I did. And it's just like, I was going to say this. It's really fun seeing things that you create for someone do well too. So like we've both had some TikToks and reels do really well. Like one of my reels got 100,000 views. Yours was up to, what was yours up to? Like 150?
I think it's like 120. No, okay. It's 120 now.
Yeah. And I'm like, I made that and like, look at it go. Because obviously my own stuff doesn't get 100,000. Like, why would it?
No.
But like when something that you create does so well for the person you're working for, you're like, oh, I might be good at what I do actually. So it's just nice. I mean, it's also, I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes there's self-doubt where it's like, do they actually like what I'm doing for them? And like, what I'm doing like actually good? And like, it is like, I've like, my clients have told me like, you're doing great. Like, I really appreciate the work you're doing, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm always like, is this actually good? But then we'll also send each other stuff that we're excited about. Like, look what I just made. Like brag to each other.
Yeah. But also we do that because like sometimes depending on who you work for, they're like, oh, that's great. But there's like some nitpicky things that like maybe they don't realize or it's not a big deal to them. But I'm like, does this look good? Because I know you're going to tell me like, no, this looks fucking awful. Like, no, I think you need to change this.
I wouldn't say it like that. I'd just be like, maybe fix the spacing here a little bit. But
yeah. But it's also, we know our strengths and weaknesses. Like mine is like spacing.
Yeah. And I mean, like we're not going to like, you guys have listened to us. We don't beat around the bush with each other. We are not afraid to tell each other things, which is good though. Like, cause I sent you a TikTok I made yesterday. I was like, I know this isn't working, but I just want to double check it's not working. And you're like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. I'm like, it's not what I wanted you to say, but okay. Thank you. So
I mean, like you could have made it work, but I'm like, I know you're not going to be happy with it when you post it.
I know. I mean, like, cause like half of it was good, but the first half I was like, it doesn't work. But I just want to double check and hope she says yes, so I don't have to keep on working on this.
No,
because I think we also both, I wouldn't say like are perfectionists, but we want to create the best for the people we work for, and like not do them proud, but like do the best of our ability for them. So we try really hard.
Well, it goes back to like making sure they succeed. You don't ever want to be the reason why something doesn't succeed. Do you know what I mean? Like they're paying you by the hour to do something, and if the one thing that you've been working on doesn't succeed, you're like, well, fuck. Like, you don't want that. But there's also like that imposter syndrome still. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I still feel like that. I'm like, how is this? Like, in my weekly meetings that I have, I'm like, end of my list is check in. Like, tell me if I'm doing something wrong? Like,
oh, that's a good idea. I mean, I don't have weekly meetings with any of my authors. I'm just like, here you go. Okay. And they're like, thanks.
No, I have a weekly check-in. Okay. And I mean, it is nice because like we both like, okay, what are some things you need me to do within the next week? These are the things that I worked on the previous week. Do you need me to follow up? Do you need me to like emphasize things, like look up, research more, whatever? Yeah. So it kind of like goes through those things. And we also talk like game plan for releases and stuff like that, like where we're going, tentative dates, stuff like that, which is cool. But also I'm like, I literally was like, if I've screwed up something, please tell me. She's like, no, you're doing great. Please continue. Like, you're doing fantastic. I'm like, okay. Like,
so if you work in the author space, some authors will make every single person that works for them sign an NDA just to protect themselves. And like that, I mean, I'm privy to so much information about my authors. Like, I know the release schedule for the next at least year. They'll share like art with me, cover designs, book deals before they're announced. Like, I know a lot, and like it's not that they don't trust me, but they're just like covering themselves. But like you really get into the author's business depending on who you're working for, and get to know a lot of really exciting things. And they also celebrate things they'll sometimes like text you, be like, oh my gosh, this just happened. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Like, that's amazing. So it's really fun to like celebrate in those things with authors too.
Yeah. And sometimes like my author had a goal that she wanted to meet for her Instagram following by the end of the year. And she texted me, or she emailed me, because it was like 2 a.m. for me, but it was time
Earlier.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, right before midnight, look what you did. And I was like, this was all you. Like, this was not me, like, in the slightest. Come on. Like, it's funny. But like, those are the type of things. Cause she's like, I didn't want to text you because it was late. And I was like, I was up till 3 a.m. It's fine. But or like during my vacation, it was like, it lasted 2 or 3 days. And I was like, do you have anything for me? She's like, are you bored? I'm like, I cannot do stay at home vacations very well.
So that's also like, we are both people who like work and we like to be busy. So during the end of the year, it was my first holiday, like major holiday with working for myself. I mean, we had Thanksgiving, but like that's like 2 days. But for Christmas, typically people take like Christmas time off and like the New Year off. I think I took Friday and Monday off for Christmas, and then I didn't even take New Year's Day off. I worked like a half a day, but like I did not take. I took 2 days off, not because like I couldn't. I mean, like also you have to think about like we don't get paid vacation, but. I was just like, well, I'm going to be sitting at home, and I already read for 2 days straight. So like I have time. I'm just going to like do some work. So
I will say though that with all of the pros, it's not a con. I wouldn't say they're cons, but we do work all the time. Like we want to work
literally all the time.
But because you're so immersed, you go from doing author services stuff to say we do like Artemis stuff, and I go to do Hello Lovely stuff, which is also like fulfilling in its own separate thing. But then we go and do Forever and Always stuff.
Yeah, and then we do our podcast, and then we have videos to film, and then we have to edit, and then so like Sunday I worked 5 hours on my stuff. So like I had a sponsored video to film. I had to edit a podcast episode, which takes a long time. So it's like my sister was like, you just came downstairs and it's 2:00 on a Sunday. I'm like, I'm sorry, I had work to do. Like we work a lot.
Yeah. But it's like it's all good things. Like they're all like I get something from all of it. And I know you said like Instagram and TikTok are not like a job because we don't get paid. But like in my head, I have to post on there as an influencer to like self-promote myself.
Yes.
To, you know, stream them to my YouTube if they want to go watch that. But also we both have Patreons on top of all that.
Why do we, like literally, if you count, so we both have YouTube, right?
Yep.
We both have Patreon. Yep. We now have this podcast. We have our PR company.
Yep.
Instagram, TikTok, social media in general. And then our clients that we work for.
Yep. And we relatively get around the same hours. Like I have 2 and you have 3. Like it's a little bit like it fluctuates. Like sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less.
Yeah. Depending on what, especially if it's like around release.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then if your authors have a release around the same time, it's a little stressful. But yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you know, we just have a lot of things.
Too many things. But
yeah. And then you did a video every day in December for a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that, but I did.
I told you. I was like, oh, hell no. I know I'm going to have FOMO, but I did my 3. No, I did 4.
You did a lot still. And then we were doing our podcast. So
yeah.
But this is fun. Like this isn't like technically this is work because we now got monetized, which is very exciting for this. Thank you everybody who watches and listens and follows. But on YouTube is where we got monetized. Yes. Like this, we're just like literally sitting down and talking. Like,
yep.
We already do that anyways. So like, we might as well film it. Like this doesn't feel like work. I mean, like, I'm like, oh my God, now I have to sit down and like edit for 2 hours because it takes forever to line everything up. And like, it's always like 40 minutes of footage. But
yeah. I was going to offer to edit this week, but I was like, I don't really want to do that.
But you're editing this week, so.
I am editing this week, which is why we're getting ahead on episodes.
We are, which is good because typically we wait until like Thursday or Friday when we have the most time. And then we're like, oh, we gotta get this done by Monday. So, but like I don't know what people are probably tired of hearing this, but like we work so well together that like we just like delegate. I'm like, okay, it's your week. Okay, it's my week. And we know we can depend on each other. Like you're never not going to get it done.
You've had a lot going on with your clients. And I was like, I can take on the Forever and Always stuff. Like I can just do everything. And I didn't even ask you. I just over the weekend like set everything up.
Well, January. And I said no. Like I was like, no, I'm not going to make you do all of it. But then you had free time. So you went ahead and like caught up on graphics. But then like today I looked over stuff, sent emails out, posted. Yeah. So
yeah, that's my least favorite. I don't like doing the email part. Sometimes I just leave emails in the inbox. I'm like, Jess will deal with it.
And we have one in there we haven't responded to yet, though. We have.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do that.
But even Forever and Always has picked up. Like, our January is so packed.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, it's good.
And like, you were the one who like set everything up in the calendar and like,
yes,
I was like, thank you, because that's annoying to me. And I don't like digital calendars, so I'd rather like write it all down. But like, we can't do that because we both need those dates. So you did all that, which was very nice. But like, we've realized we have to get ahead. So like, normally we'd wait like day before, and I'm like, we got to get like even further ahead when we do all those things. So
yeah, because sometimes because we now work for more people, things can come up that day that we plan to do Forever and Always stuff. Like at the end of the day, usually I'll do my Forever. It's either at the very beginning or the very end is when I'll do Forever and Always stuff. So like something can come up and then you're like, fuck, I don't have time to do that. Like, so now it's 8:00 and you're sitting there trying to set everything up.
Do this.
Yeah, I'd rather be reading type of a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot that goes into it. But I will say a lot of people are posting their author services because it's the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And I freaking love that because I am terrified to do that. I don't know why. I've literally been talking to Jess about this for a while, just like putting out there what I do.
Yeah. I mean, like how we got our jobs is not normal. So all 3 of my clients got because of personal connections. So I never had to like put myself out there. I interviewed for one, but like I got that interview because of another person that connected us. I never had to like post to social media that I was looking for work or like cold message authors, like, or email them like, hey, I have these services. Like if you're ever interested, like all that stuff. And you're the same way. Like you got your jobs through connections. So it's really, I mean, it is inspiring seeing a lot of people posting their services to social media. And like, I'm like, again, it's just like the Lightning McQueen thing. Like, yeah, you go like, but like, it really is inspiring seeing people also take the leap because like both of us know how terrifying that is. Like you had to deal with me for like a good 9 months being like, I hate my life, but do I quit? I don't know. Like I know I was the most annoying person ever that last school year, but it is terrifying because you're taking a leap. You're married. I'm not. I got to pay for my own insurance. I got to figure all that out. And like trying to just figure out life, like being self-employed, which like I feel like is not how our society is set up. It's like, I feel like they try to punish people who are self-employed, which is very frustrating. Cause like even my insurance went up by like $80 a month. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, that is so stupid. But it did. And I had to, like, I don't have a choice. Like, do I not have insurance? So it's really inspiring seeing people take that leap because it is terrifying. And I love seeing people succeed and like getting to work for people in the industry that we love. So I love to see more people doing it.
But it's also too, because I know how important like word of mouth is that when I see someone post that, I'm like, oh, wow, they're looking. So if I hear something that someone else is looking, like an author is looking to fulfill this position or just do this or do that, I like will be like, oh, I know someone. Because that I feel like is more, not important, but an author would be like, oh, really? Like, you know them? Okay, cool. Like maybe I'll give them a shot type of a thing. Yeah. So like I've seen a lot of people like share their stuff, so I'm like, oh, I'll keep that in mind, that if I hear someone looking for something, I'll
especially
be like,
if they're
hey,
like specialized services, like, oh, you know, they're really good at like this, and that's exactly what the author's looking for. I mean, that's how like you got a job with Becca. I literally was just chatting with Becca because like it was I was chatting with her about my stuff, and she's like, yeah, I just like really need to hire someone. I was like, well, I have a friend who is looking for work. So
but it's interesting, like our relationships with Becca is like yours has always been friend first, and now you mix it or whatever. I've always been terrified to talk to Becca because like I admire her and I look up to her. So when you like said that, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna flip and die. Like what the heck? And I was like, But it is like it's cool. It's cool to have a community that like genuinely encourage each other. Like we literally have the same job now, but like you're not my competition. Like we want to help each other succeed and help each other find new clients. So like anytime I see those on social media, I share because like I have other author friends and I'm like, I'm sure they like see my stories. And they're like, oh, look, like this person's doing exactly what I was hoping to hire someone for soon. And they'll look into that. So nobody's like competition, which I really love. But also like with beta reading, because that's something I've recently started doing, is like that's what I really want to promote, because I don't have to be like a consistent quote unquote employee like working for that author to beta read. Like I can be just someone they know. Do you know what I mean? Like like someone I've interacted with online, like social media wise, like if they see that I offer beta reading, they don't have to hire me for X amount of hours per week. They can just hire me for the beta reading, which is nice. Like that's something I do want to put out there, be like, hey, if you ever need it, because I realized I really enjoy that, like really dissecting a book that way. Which I mean, like, look, there's so many other like things in the book world that you come across that you're like, wow, I really like that part of it. Or no, I do not like that part of it. Like emails, I hate emails so much. My God.
We've already talked about Tori's tone in writing.
Yeah. I've gotten better.
Yeah.
I still just don't like it.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of updates because it changes, but it's all for the good.
We don't add anything more. We did.
Oh my God.
Okay. So the fun part about us is that we love bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're so passionate about the community, right? So it was in my live show for my reading sprints where first off I was like, oh my God, could you imagine doing a puzzle subscription box based around books? And I immediately texted Tori because I knew you were watching, and I was like, but really, like, how cool would this be? And I was actually like chatting with one of my clients, and I was like, yeah, like this was like, I thought this would be super fun. She's like, first I was like, that's amazing. Second, I was like, no, you have zero time for that. Do not do it. Like, you literally cannot add that to your plate. And I was like, I'm aware I can't, but it's such a fun idea. And then we were talking about another idea that you called me all excited about the other day, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Literally, like, I forgot what it was, but I was talking with Brandon about this idea because he works in marketing. I don't know if anyone knows that, but he is like a marketing manager for a corporate company, and he's like gone to school for all of that shit. And so he knows a lot. And so I was, talking about a client and what she wants to do. And he was like, oh my God, you guys should do this for Forever and Always. And he went, blah, blah, blah. He's going on and on.
He was very excited.
I was like, wait, let me call Jess.
Well, I was nervous because you were like, are you busy? And I was like,
no, I said, can you chat?
Oh yeah, can you chat? And I was like, oh my God, like what happened? Like, what do you need to talk to me about? It always makes me very nervous when people text me like that. Because normally you just FaceTime me. You don't say like, can you chat first? I was like,
well, it was like 8:00 at night, like on a Friday night.
Yeah, and I'm not doing anything.
I didn't know if you were hanging out with your sister or something. Like,
well, yeah, I was sitting on the couch with her, but like we were just sitting on the couch.
Okay, listen, I always FaceTime you when Alexis is around, and I feel so bad.
She's fine.
I feel terrible. But I called and I was like, hey, I have this idea. And, I started talking, and then Brandon just like took over. He was like, you do this and this and this. And then Jess went to say something, and he was like, wait. And then I was like, let her talk for a second. Like, she has to voice her opinion too. He's like, sorry, I'm just like very pumped about this.
And I mean, like, it's a good idea, but like it would take so much more time too. And I feel like that's not a priority, So like you also like have to think about like what you can make time for and like what's a priority for all the things we do. So maybe we'll do a puzzle subscription box eventually, but I had some really good ideas, and I was like, that'd be so cute. Oh,
I mean, I'm not someone that does. Maybe like 200-piece puzzles. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I do that.
No.
But the only good thing but that's a good thing. If we do the puzzle subscription box, you can have like different tiers. You can do 1,000 pieces, 500 pieces, but use the same artwork.
We'd have to see. Like, do people do 200-piece puzzles?
I would. The 500 was too much for me. Fuck that.
I have to do 1,000 or else. You got me a 2,000-piece puzzle. I've not touched that yet. That makes me nervous. But
that was on your wish list.
I did not realize that was 2,000 pieces. No, I really like a challenge, so I like harder puzzles. But
yeah, you have to do that,
or else I'll do it in a night.
Oh my God, took me like 4 days to do my 500-piece puzzle.
Yeah, but like that's just like it's fun being friends and also being in the same industry and having a business together because we bounce ideas off each other really well. But we're also honest with each other. So you got excited about that idea, and I was like, I don't know when we do that, but we'll keep it in the back of our minds. Yeah.
I mean, we do have a lot of like ideas across the board, not just with Forever and Always, but like with YouTube stuff, with Patreon ideas. Like when I just added a new tier, which I've been thinking about for a while, and I was like, Jess, I need help. I need to noodle this. You didn't do anything. You were just sitting there listening to me. I just sat there.
Well, but then you also are someone like you get an idea and you have to execute it like right away. So I feel like you only thought about it for like a week, and like that day you were calling me about like certain ideas, and you literally posted it like that night. So like
because it's one of those things. If I sit on it for too long, I just like, won't do it. So I'm like, I have to do it right now, or it's never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
or I'm gonna like psych myself out.
Fast. I was like, oh, okay, cool, you did it.
Yeah, you were like, when you posted, I was like, I already did it, and you were like, oh, I want to be the first one, and then you're like,
I thought you were like waiting a little bit, but okay.
But I noodle on things for a little while. Like I'll have an idea and then I'll think about it like for a week, and then like I'll talk out my idea to you or Brandon, either way. I did my Patreon to Brandon the night before because we were laying in bed, and then I woke up and I was like, oh, let me call Jess.
Yeah. But I mean, like, a lot of things happen because of us. Like, we get an idea, we're like, okay, let's do it. Like the booktuber retreat we did a couple years ago, like that was entirely our planning, because we always talk about like it'd be fun to do like a big trip, and we did it, and look at what happened. But
the logistics of that is so fucking hard, especially now with plane prices, like flights the way they are.
Yeah, so like you had to figure out, there's all like the location and like who all could go, and then spreadsheets of like everyone's information, and like it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, but we're both very organized people when it comes to that stuff, so.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd ever do that again. I'll let someone else handle that.
But also that was what, 2021? 22? That was when like our community was way, way smaller. So.
Yeah, there's like, I feel like I can name like 40 people off the top of my head that I would invite.
So like now I'd be like, the scope of what it would be too much. Like we couldn't.
That's like a convention. That's a convention.
Yeah.
That's not a retreat.
We
like,
cannot do that. No, but like we have a fun trip coming up. Just the two of, I mean, like with Alexis is coming, but like we're like, wouldn't it be fun to do this? We're like, yeah, okay, let's book it, and we did. So like,
yeah,
we just see a lot of things through, which is fun.
Yeah. Speaking of, I gotta buy my Steamy Lit ticket. I've been busy.
Okay. Which we're gonna go to Disney for my birthday.
Your sister's birthday.
Yeah, and it's gonna be real fun. I'm so excited. Though it's probably gonna be so packed right before school goes back.
Maybe. Well, thank you so much for listening to all of our updates. If you have any questions or you want us to clarify anything, just drop it in the comments down below or DM us. What is the emoji, Jess? Pick a good one.
We didn't do an emoji our last episode. Yeah. I realized
the historical one?
Yeah, we didn't do one.
Oh, shit. What is the emoji then?
We'll do a crown since we didn't get to use it for our last one.
Oh, yeah. The crown. That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, good. You usually make fun of the one I pick.
No, it is a good one. It's a random one. But thank you so much for watching. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, leave us a rating. Tell us what you thought of the podcast. That's all we have.
Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our bookish life. Bye.
Bye. Good job.